core part of what I do. So like I said, I take them through a framework, and the first, so it's the earn method. The first of that is E, which is examine. And really, this is where we have to dig into a number of different things. So there's no point trying to market your business if you don't truly know who you are and what you're trying to build. Right. So in the examine part of the process, we examine the type of company they want to build, but we examine who they are as an entrepreneur as well. Right. So, you know, what's their archetype? What motivates them? Why are they doing what they're doing? You know, like what gets them out of bed in the morning and things. And as part of that, we also examine their customer, by the way, their target market. We deeply understand the questions, the objections, the fears. In fact, we go beyond. We're always taught things like demographic targeting and even sociographic targeting and psychographic targeting. But I want to go to a different layer, which is thinkographic, which is just a term I made up to sound intelligent. But really, it is about trying to get into the head of your target market and understand all the questions that they would have. Understand that the things that cause them to go, oh, hang on, hesitate for a moment. Or the things that were kind of jarring to them as well. When you understand all of this, that is going to give you an infinite supply of content that you can create for them. It's going to give you an infinite way. In fact, it's going to give you the very words that you need to be able to market to them, because they'll give that to you. They'll tell you what their concerns are, what their fears are, what their objections are, and those become the actual key points that you put into your marketing. So it's really powerful stuff. But part of the outworking of this examine stage of the process is really looking at your pitch and your story. It's being able to articulate what you do and why you do what you're doing. And honestly, once they're even just nailing that aspect there, is going to take most entrepreneurs really, really far. And then we go into the A, the R, and the N, which, it's such an exciting process, man.
Yeah. No, man, you got to tell me, what is the A, the R, and the N now? You got to at least tell me what they stand for.
All right. Yeah. I wasn't fishing for that at all. No, I wasn't dramatically pausing for you to say that. Look, the A is for assemble. So under E, you really get a deep understanding of yourself and your customers and your business. But then you need to put together the pieces. And I didn't just call it assemble because I'm a giant Marvel fanboy, but hey, maybe. But this is where you put the pieces together. So we audit your social profiles. We put those out, like we'd be able to articulate the story that we crafted in the E section, put that into your social profiles, your website, your landing pages, your messaging, your sales scripts, your everything. But also exactly. But then also from that, we actually create your own content marketing machine. So the idea is we can turn the why of what you're doing, all the stuff we learned in E, we can turn that into just consistent content that serves your potential customers. So we put all those pieces together under A, and that leads beautifully into the next stage, which is R. And I'm embarrassed to say that stands for raise the roof. The fact is, as a marketer and entrepreneur, you really need your own framework, so you need an acronym, and I really like to earn an acronym. I couldn't think of another word to describe R. So.
I like it too.
But really, that is about scaling upwards.
Right, you can raise your standards.
Exactly. So this is really the onus now is on the entrepreneur. So at this stage for R, I give them the tools that they need, but then also I give them the support they need. So really, it's about them now doing the hard yards. It's about them generating more leads. It's getting out there on social and talking to people. It's about being able to respond to people, turn those into prospects, turn them into customers, etc. And then from that, I do, like I said, marketing reviews in there. So any of the content, any of the emails, any of the sales scripts, all of those kind of things, I will review for them, optimize for them, and they can experiment and try different things. And then also I give them support and ideation. So like one of the things that every entrepreneur faces is we hit the wall from time to time, where we put something out there and it's just not working. Or, we'll create a package, we'll create a product, we'll create something, and just for some reason it's not resonating with people. So at this point, one of the key things to do is get really creative and ideate different solutions, different things you can test, and help them to think different on it. So that's the raise the roof part of it. And then we get into the part that I love so much, which is N, and that's next level. And this is broken into two kind of key areas. One of those, like I said, R is about scaling upwards. Next level is about scaling outwards. So this is where you're looking at how you're serving your customers, what are you actually providing for them? How can you provide more value to them? And in exchange, of course, you will get more value back from them. How do you turn them into rabid fans of yours? How do you turn them into affiliates where they're actually out there selling your services because they believe in what you do so much? But also in this layer, like this whole next level layer of the acronym of the program, really is a creativity layer. It's really where you get to think different and you get to try new things. And we've got a whole pile of processes around this and things as well. But it's also in that next level piece, it's around thought leadership. And this is something that I cover loosely in the program itself, but I also have, I'm launching some products and some programs later in the year around really digging into this even deeper. But this is where I help entrepreneurs to position themselves in market as thought leaders, as that next level. And this is usually for the more experienced marketer, but it's around getting them to be published authors, getting them to launch their own podcast or at least appear on as many podcasts as possible, how to frame their content and how to frame it as what they do, how to create their own platforms, their own like structures and things like that as well, to position themselves as thought leaders. And this kind of came about by mistake, if I'm honest. A couple of people approached me and said, look, I really need help with this. I really need you to work with me on that. And I'm like, why me? I mean, I said it in a more articulate way, but I'm like, huh? You're approaching me about that? And then they said, yeah, well, I want what you're doing. I want what you've done. And that's when I realized, actually, I'm very particular with my brand. I'm very strategic with what I'm doing. Like, I know the impact that writing a book has. That's why I'm writing 2 books at the moment. I know the impact that appearing in different industries and different markets and being positioned for what you do and how you contribute to your industry, all of those things are very, very deliberate and very important to me. Even down to, no joke, when I'm approaching even when I was at Cigna, when we were doing a project, like for example, we were doing this big AI project where we were creating this virtual assistant. So one of the key things I would do is I would look at how we're building, not just wanting to build this, but I would look at the story behind that. I would look at the way that we're challenging how we're doing things in the industry, because each of those is also going to position not just me, but Cigna and all of my team as thought leaders as well. So when you realize that you've done this for years and you just didn't realize it, that's when you realize, okay, I need to create something from this. I need to help other people with this as well. So, yeah.
Is everybody in New Zealand as smart as you, man?
They're all way smarter, man. I'm
You're the one guy. No, there was definitely some gold nuggets, man. I really appreciate you sharing that. Oh, well, that's so cool. Now I want to earn. I think you got everybody pumped up.
That's why I love the acronym, man. People can go, I want to earn. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, shit. And tell me a little bit about your podcasting and how you're bringing everything together. I'd like to just hear
Sure, man. Well, I kind of look at what I'm doing in 3 layers. So I talk about that. Like, there's the free layer. This is the easy, accessible layer, and this is because I really do want to help a lot of people, as many entrepreneurs as I can. But not every entrepreneur fits my top layer, which is my one-to-one coaching or my group program. Not every entrepreneur is right for that, but I can still impact a lot of people down here. So for that's about the virtual summits that I create. That's about the Facebook group I have where I support entrepreneurs in there. We do weekly challenges and cool stuff like that. But it's also the podcast. And it's being able to talk to people in the industry who can give you their insights, who can talk through what they've learned over their journey. And that way you don't have to make the same mistakes they make, because guess what? Every entrepreneur makes mistakes. Everyone who's ever succeeded has a string of failures behind them as well, unless they're a freak. But you can learn from all of those mistakes and all of the things that they've learned over their years. So I really want to give every entrepreneur that kind of unfair advantage, essentially, to be able to kind of move the needle for their business. So that's the free layer. And then I get into the easily accessible layer. And this is the ones where I get them to support it through paying for it. So I have what I call the Insiders Club. So this is it's kind of a way for people to support the podcast. Basically, they pay $10 a month US, and they get access to the video versions of the podcast. But they also get additional content from each of the speakers I have on there. So we do these mini workshops with each of the speakers. They get masterclasses from me. They get downloads. They get weekly tips on SEO and all these kind of things as well. So they get content that's going to help them to dive even deeper. And in exchange, they pay for that. I also do short courses and paid workshops in this layer as well, where it's low ticket items, but it's about taking that free layer, that huge pool of entrepreneurs that I want to impact, and it's picking